Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Julie and I am the author and creator of the blog CapturingWonderland.com. Today I want to show you some of my most recent thrift store finds, as well as give you a couple of tips on how you can become a pro at thrifting yourself. My first tip is know what you're looking for. Have a list, have an idea, a vision, something in your mind, and something physical written down that you can bring with you when you go to stores. It's easier to avoid wasting money if you already know exactly what you're looking for. And it makes it very simple to be intentional about what you're bringing into your home. Tip number 2 would be to know what an item is worth that you're specifically looking for. Having a wish list is an amazing commodity because you'll actually know the specific item that you're looking for and how much it is worth when you find it. And this way you'll be able to spot a really good deal right away. Also, you need to know exactly what your budget is. Because overall, it doesn't matter what something is worth if you can't afford to pay it anyway. What I like to do is search and kind of keep tabs on what things are going for in my specific area. Prices can vary greatly from one end of the country to the other, so you want to be aware of what your area is charging for certain things and what a good deal is when you find it. Similarly, the style of furniture or decor or even like the age of certain items might be more prevalent in certain historic areas. And so if you're looking for things more like that, it makes good sense to travel to those areas and look for things in their thrift stores. Tip number 3 would be to put it in your cart and think about it. One of the biggest regrets you can have when you are out treasure hunting is if you see something you kind of like but you're unsure about it, and then you walk away from it only to go back and find that somebody else has already put it in their cart or purchased it. Tip number 4 is try to look past the ugly as much as possible. Most people would happily take number 1 and number 2, but number 3 almost always gets left behind, therefore is usually in the cheapest price range, which is the price range I particularly like to shop in. Sure, it's a poor, unfortunate, ugly, forgotten piece, but its potential is literally limitless. I also need to mention that it could be the greatest piece that you have ever purchased. The last tip I'm going to share with you today before I move on to some of my most favorite things would be to buy out of season. When you purchase out of season merchandise, you get them at a very deep discount. Again, one of my favorite things to do. I know it isn't exactly as fun because everyone wants to get what you need for right now. Like if it's spring, the last thing you're really wanting to look for is Christmas decor because you can't use it for another year. But this is the best way that you can get that great deal. If you want more of my tips, I'm gonna leave a link down below for my free ebook called How to Thrift Like a Pro, 10 Best Strategies from a Seasoned Huntress. Now I'm going to turn your attention to a couple of my most favorite recent finds. Not all of these were from thrift stores. Some of them were from Facebook Marketplace. One of them was from Craigslist, and a few of them were from flea markets. But you get the idea. They're all secondhand, and I got them all at a very deep discount, which works great for my intentional budgeting of my home. So the number 1 thing I look for when I'm at thrift stores is actually antique or vintage furniture. It is one of my most favorite things to bring home. My husband loves that so much, but he gets to help me carry them all inside. I haul them on the top of my car, or I get my trailer, or if I can squeeze them in the car if I don't have my kids, I do that too. One of the things you want to keep in mind when you're looking at vintage or antique furniture is the sturdiness of the item. You want to wobble it back and forth, open up the drawers, see how well it is holding up. Sometimes those older pieces, because of how they're put together, will just need a little bit of tightening. Sometimes they'll need a nail or two. It's really usually not much, but you want to be sure that you know what you're getting into before you purchase an item. Another thing you want to look for is veneer damage. Many old pieces of furniture are actually not solid wood. They have solid wood underneath, but then they have a layer of veneer on the top. And while it's not a deal breaker for me, I just like to know what I'm getting into. That way I can determine how much I'm actually willing to pay for an item, because I know with veneer damage, it is going to take an extra bit of love and care and some time to put into the repair. Either repairing the veneer or completely taking the veneer off, which I've also done on a couple of pieces. My second most favorite thing to find in thrift stores is actually copper. I love copper. I have been collecting it for literally years. I have a little bit of a collection going, not a huge one, but it's probably better because I'm running out of space on my shelves. But this is actually something I found recently at a thrift store. Look how beautiful this is. It's got this aged discoloring on the side, and which makes it, in my opinion, even more beautiful. I love things with flaws. They give so much more character, and it kind of speaks to the history of the item. I'm not looking for perfect things by any means, but I have found this pot recently, and I've also found a set of 4 pans. I was super excited about those because I only paid $10 for them. So that was one of those instances where as soon as I saw the box with them inside of it, I grabbed the box and I literally took it up to the cash wrap to claim them as mine, because I was not going to take a chance that somebody else saw the goodies that I saw. The number 3 item that I look for typically in thrift stores is going to be dishes. Things like this little pitcher. And I don't mind when they have imperfections, like this crack right here. It actually gives it much more character to me. I love that it's been used and it's been loved. And this is actually going to become a vase probably, or just simply for staging purposes. It's just so elegant and I love the coloring of it. So always look in the dish department. Number 4 of some of my favorite things to find in thrift stores are actually boxes, oddly enough. It's probably not something that you would typically hear, but I love little vintage boxes with engravings like this one. This is a little wooden box. It was actually not painted when I got it, but it had quite a bit of bad staining that I couldn't get rid of, no matter how much I scrubbed or cleaned. So I actually did a single coat of black chalk paint and heavily distressed so that you could see the beautiful engraving on the top, and it just makes it look so much more beautiful. This one I actually can't open because it came locked with a tiny little lock, but I'm not in a rush to get it open because I don't want to break the lock. I'm just going to be on a hunt for a tiny little key. Another one of my favorite boxes to look for is actually music boxes. This one actually plays Blue Danube Tales from the Vienna Woods, which is one of my favorite classical music. I'm sure that not a lot of people look for music boxes, but they're kind of nostalgic to me, especially when they've got classical music or songs that I personally love in them. So that one I actually only paid like, I think probably $2 for, and it was 100% worth that money. Another thing I found recently, and is one of the things I typically look for, is brass. This brass item is actually a towel bar. I got it for $1, and look at that beautiful coloring. It is very heavy duty. So this towel rack I'm actually going to be putting on my kitchen island that I'm building out of a vintage dresser. And I will be doing a video on that, so stay tuned if you're interested to see how I'm turning a vintage dresser into a kitchen island. But this was only $1, and I'm going to put it on that kitchen island and hopefully use it for either towels, kitchen utensils, or even hanging a couple of pans on it. But yeah, I look for brass items on a regular basis, brass candlesticks. I'm not typically a figurines kind of person, but if I find one that is in a decent price range and something like an animal that I would really like seeing, then I might pick it up. I also love pieces like this because of the history of the item. Like, who doesn't need a toothpick holder that is fancy? I know I did. Something that I have looked at pretty much every single time I've gone into a thrift store is these brass plates. I have looked at them every single time, and I've kind of not given them a fair rap, honestly. I just had no idea what I would possibly do with them. Until I actually saw Sarah from She Holds Dearly do a thrift haul herself, and then she also likes to stage the items so that you can see how to decorate with them, which is brilliant. I love that. She has such a great eye for pieces. So I thought to myself, oh my goodness, why didn't I think? She just painted them white, but I don't know, I kind of like them. Look at the aging on that. It's so beautiful. I was actually thinking that I might put them up on a wall and then actually put white plates around them. So something to break up the white on my walls. So I'm gonna try that. Another thing that I have found recently, and something that I have been actively looking for to include in my home, are actually peg hooks. Now, these you can actually find pretty inexpensively in thrift stores when you can find them. This one was $1, and you literally can't even buy the pegs for that much. The pegs at a hardware store are typically between $3 and $4 a piece just for these. And then you have to buy the piece of wood and you have to drill the holes. I have made pegboards and they're super easy to make. I actually made one for my guest bathroom. But if you can find them whole, even better. I love these for that old world handmade look. Obviously they add a lot of character to a wall and just kind of bring back the nostalgia from days gone past and things you might have seen in a grandmother's home. And that's kind of how I decorate, which is kind of funny. I decorate my home like a grandmother would. But that's because grandmothers have all of that history and they have all those memories, and usually the pieces in their homes all have stories. And that's kind of what I'm curating in my home. Another thing that I look for on a regular basis is baskets. This one is a waste basket, and if you've got to have trash, it might as well be fancy. That one I picked up for $3. And baskets are literally in no short supply in thrift stores. You can find 1 billion baskets, but they're typically ugly. But if you kind of rifle through them and you keep an eye open, you will find a really good deal every now and then. I actually want to show you this basket that I got recently, which is a $5 picnic basket. It's in great condition, and I'm always up for buying a great basket at an affordable price. $5 is obviously a really good deal. All right, the last thing today I wanted to show you was actually a frame. I picked this beauty up for about $3, and it does have its glass, but I just took it out to clean it. It's actually wooden, which is ideal for me. I'm not big on plastics. I look for brass frames, which are heavy duty And then also wooden frames that are solid. I don't want anything wobbly or partially broken, because frames are notoriously hard to fix in my opinion. But this piece has these beautiful engravings. I think they're actually a separate piece that was maybe glued on. And it has some velour on the sides, which I actually cleaned with a little bit of soap and water. This has actually had 3 coats of paints that I can tell. It's got a cream coat, and then somebody came in with some pink, unfortunately. And then someone came back in and covered the whole thing with gold. Maybe it was an experiment, I don't know. But I'm kind of hoping, and I want to do a whole video on kind of an experiment of redeeming this frame in seeing if I can take a little bit of paint stripper, maybe to one side, and see if I can strip off whatever paint is on here to get to the wood underneath. Frames are definitely a favorite thing that I look for. You can kind of tell if there's gonna be a good one though. I don't dig too deeply in them because there are usually like a lot of cheap like hotel art where I live. And I'm not interested in spending 25 minutes digging through a whole pile. But I will do a quick run through. Well, I think that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching all the way through if you did. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe if this is the kind of content you're interested in watching. And don't forget to check out my free ebook down below about how to thrift like a pro. Have a great day. Can't wait to talk to you again. Bye.